everybody. Welcome back to the Patreon. We are so excited for today's video. It's going to be a good one. We asked for your completely anonymous book confessions and kind of like book hot takes. And we have lists, okay? I'm talking lists. I printed this out, okay? Lists of confessions. So we're really excited to get into it.
Last night, I had enlisted Ryan to go through all the submissions and then divvy them up because I was like, well, I don't want to read all the submissions and I don't want, I want to be surprised at what's being read to some degree. We had like 125 submissions or something. We're obviously not going to be able to get through all of those. I honestly think you guys would be bored of us yapping at you for that long. And also this would be like a 3-hour video. He was getting frustrated because every time he went to copy one to put it in a Google Doc, it would shoot to the top of the list. And he was getting so mad, heated with the computer. I was like, okay, I'm going to go take my makeup off. He was all sorts of mad. And I was like, sorry, I made you help us out. And he was like, no, it's fine. This is just being so annoying. I'm like,
add him to the payroll because he deserves something for helping us out that much. We really appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. I had gotten this idea because I really like the What We Said podcast, and they do a lot of content submissions. And if you guys have ideas for other things that we could do along these lines, I think it's fun to read stuff from you guys and also have you guys be more involved in the Patreon, YouTube videos, but also there's just something fun for us to chat about. And some of the hot takes and book confessions that I have, some I agree with and some I'm like, what? So I think it'll be fun to kind of go through.
Definitely. And I like that we did it as a surprise. And more times than not, if you have what you think is an unpopular opinion and you just don't say it out loud, there are usually other people out there who feel the same way. It's it takes me back to elementary school when teachers would be like, if you have a question, just ask because there's a chance that somebody else has the same question too. And it's the same. So I'm excited to get into it and see what everybody had to say.
Well, we'll start with our little life updates. Brady, what have you been up to since we chatted last? Any new things to report?
Not really. Honestly, just been laying low a lot, just staying at home. Lots of weekends spent right here in the we call this the bill paying corner because Gavin and I, we split the bills, but whoever made the payment that month, they get to sit in the bill paying corner because it's the best. It's the section, we have a sectional, so it's the best spot. And so I've been spending a lot of time in the corner reading, coloring, just relaxing. I don't know, I feel like it's the time of year to do that. I feel like a lot of people probably want moving updates or house updates, and I honestly have nothing to share. Interest rates are insane, so we're just kind of waiting to see if things change. I don't really have anything too crazy to share, and I honestly should probably stop talking about it in general on social media because a lot of Gavin's coworkers follow me, which I did not realize because we came home.
Oh, you're moving.
He came home from Wrightsville and he went back to work, and then he came home and he's like, so everyone knows we're moving. And I was like, how? And he's like, a lot of people follow you on TikTok. And I was like, didn't know that. So any updates, you guys will probably get them first because I don't think any of them are Patreon members. But yeah, nothing crazy, just laying low. How about you guys? Any baby updates for us?
No new baby updates. Lots of people have asked if we know the gender. We do. We're just kind of not saying anything yet. I was telling Brady, I just want additional confirmation. Not I don't believe, but I've heard of stories of people having the gender incorrect on their early testing. And I just want the doctor or the tech at our anatomy scan to be yep, it's a blank. So I kind of just want that additional confirmation. I told you guys I was very anxious. So that's just kind of how I feel. And I'm still anxious, but a lot less anxious as time goes on. We are clearing out the nursery. So that's been kind of fun. Need to sell lots of things because we just physically don't have space in this house anymore. We decorated for Christmas, which was really fun and crazy to think that next year we'll have potentially a crawling baby around here, which is interesting because I feel like this could be one of our last years of not having to baby proof our Christmas decor for a while.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, by this point, baby Piper will be not mobile, but
yeah,
it won't be a newborn.
Ryan did not, again, understand. Ryan is going to learn a lot once this baby is here, but he was like, well, won't we just kind of get one of those crib things or kind of fenced in areas where they can crawl around? And I'm like, well, we can, but they're not going to be in those things 24/7.
Yeah.
He was like, oh. I'm like,
Yeah.
Did you really think that we were just gonna like have like a specific like crate situation being like that's where the baby goes when
Yeah.
they're awake? And he's like,
Right.
I
Like,
just thought that like that'd be fine for Christmas. It would make more sense, honestly, for us to get some sort of crate situation for the tree so we could keep our ornaments up and then they couldn't get close to it.
that's true.
But Ryan's never been around babies. Has Gavin been around a lot of babies?
No.
Yeah, see, like Ryan is, I grew up around babies, and I feel like women just like, I feel like you pick up a lot of stuff from your friends that have children as well.
Yep.
So I feel like you just naturally learn things, and it's so interesting just because Ryan really doesn't know a lot, so he's like picking up on a lot of things, and I have to be like,
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Totally like shift his mindset. You're gonna need to like borrow a baby from a friend for
Yep.
a night and be like, can we take your kid for the night just to practice?
Honestly, we should. We have like a friend that lives like literally 2 minutes from us. We should take their baby.
Babies are intimidating. Our friend has a 5-year-old, and at the time I think it was like a 5-year-old and a 5-month-old. And we would go over there often after he was born, and you pick up on stuff. And they're really like, the only thing that ever freaked me out was sleeping, like the crib situation, and like, you know, you have to get the mattresses that breathe, and like, do they sleep on their back or on their belly? And I don't know, I feel like they're just kind of like they kind of tell you what they want. Like if they want to be put down, they cry. If they're down and they want to be picked up, they cry. Like it's just, I had a great time watching. His name was Crew. I loved it. I was like, I literally every time we leave, I'm like, I want a baby. Like I love this. It's so fun.
They really do communicate the best they can with you. And again, like I think that there is like that natural parental instinct that comes once your baby is here and you just kind of know what to do. But like before you're there, it's a little bit like intimidating of like, are we going to pick up on this? And it's like, you will. That's what all my friends have been like, you will be totally fine.
And you have people you can call, you have friends in the same situation, but it definitely has to be nerve-wracking. Like you walk into the hospital pregnant, you leave with a child that is just like, here you go, like good luck. And anybody's allowed to do it. It's crazy. Like it's just it's going to be amazing, and I'm very excited for all of your baby updates to come in the next few months.
Thanks, me too. It's been really good so far, and everyone was like really sweet when we announced, and it was really like fun to see everyone like be so excited for us, and it's just a really fun chapter to be able to share. And yeah, it's just been very good. But other than that, nothing to really to report over here. Hey, Millie. Oh, she's paying the bills. She says, I'm paying the bills this month.
What you doing? Mama. You hanging out?
God, she's so cute.
Hi. Okay. She's like, can you not pay attention to me? Otherwise she'll like run away.
Yeah. She's like, actually pretend I'm not here, please. But yeah, we've been pretty much doing similar things to you. I've been coloring a lot. I have not been reading a lot. I don't know. Reading has last November, I remember was like, I think I read 3 books, and I'm going to read more than that this month, but I just have been having a hard time picking up an actual book. I've been like enjoying listening to the books a lot more. Been laying low. A lot of our friends have been out of town on the weekends, which has been kind of nice because no one's asking me to do anything. So I can just sit at home. It's been really lovely.
Definitely. No, audiobooks have been saving the game recently. They're just so easy. Like I just went to the grocery store earlier, had my book playing in the car, switched to my AirPods, played it again in the car, like, and you churn through like 4 chapters. It's just, it's the best.
I love that. Like that is probably one of the most frequent questions I get on book videos is like, how do you read? So often I know that you get that question a lot too, and it's audiobooks. Like that is the only way that I like read so much. Cause like pretty much any open time, if I'm like, even like editing like a video for TikTok that requires no like sound, like I know I'm going to like put music over it. I'll just throw on my audiobook. Cause I'm like, this doesn't even take any like mental capacity to edit this. So yeah, it's just, that's how I normally do it, is just listening to a lot of audiobooks.
Definitely. And my current audiobook listen, I have to, it's so good.
Oh, good.
I'm listening to From Here to the Great Unknown, and it's by Lisa Marie Presley, who is Elvis Presley's daughter, and Riley Keough, who is Elvis Presley's granddaughter, which is fascinating. It's so well done because there are Lisa Marie Presley audio recorded herself random times throughout her life, and just like has these recordings of different things that have, you know, happened, and they put them in the book. And then Julia Roberts narrates Lisa Presley's parts in the book. And then Riley Keough like pops in and will give like her memories of the same situation that they're talking about. And it is fascinating. I'm 63% of the way through. It's only a 300-page book, but it is so good. and I'm obsessed. So
Oh
little
my
audiobook
gosh.
recommendation. And the book time itself is like 6 hours, so you can fly through it in like an afternoon probably.
Love that. Yeah, I actually added that to my TBR like a couple weeks ago or something because I was trying to find more memoirs and just trying to find ones that I hadn't heard of. And I've never
Yeah,
seen anyone talk about that one. And then I saw that you were reading it and I was like, I literally just added this.
it's so good. I think it just came out kind of recently.
Oh, is it
Um,
fairly new?
Publication October 8th, 2024, so a month ago.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And I'm like, I literally added it probably like 2 weeks ago because I was like, okay, that'd be good. I haven't seen anyone talk about this. And that makes
Yeah,
sense. 'Cause it's
really good though.
trendy.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, we'll do a little like book corner of like some of our recs that we have that maybe we haven't talked about to you guys much before. Maybe we've mentioned them in a book video, but books that we think that you should add to your TBR before we get into the submissions. Probably one of my favorite books that I've read recently was an audiobook that I listened to, Dinner for Vampires. I know you
So
listened to it
good.
too. And I loved it so much. Why do all the bad things in books seem to be happening in Idaho though? I swear, like so many
Yeah,
times I read a book and they're like, I was in a cult in Idaho. And I'm like, okay. But it was really fascinating. I wanted like more at the end, like
yeah.
so much more. Cause I was like, I wanted to like know more about like where she's at currently.
Now. Mhm.
But it takes a lot of courage in general to tell your like life story. And it was very, very vulnerable and really fucked up and sad.
Yeah, I felt frustrated a lot of the times because I'm like, how do you not see these screaming red flags? But when you're
Yeah.
in an abusive situation like that, mentally, it's draining. And
Hmm.
it broke my heart. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
just like the money situation. And as somebody who is not religious, will never be religious, it fascinated me even more because I was just like, this is so far removed from anything, like any type of situation I would put myself in, which
Yeah.
is why I love reading memoirs. You get to read about something that is so far removed from what you know and read about it and learn about it through their eyes and their experiences. And it was fabulous. And the parts where we got to hear from like Chad Michael Murray and who's the guy who played
Oh,
Nathan's dad?
Dan Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget
Whatever
his.
that actor. Yeah, because
Yeah,
like it was nice getting those like little cameos, also of other people's perspectives through that time when they were obviously looking out for her.
yeah,
And I just finished my One Tree Hill rewatch, like end of August, beginning of September. And now I'm like thinking back on everything because like there's a lot of connections of her time on One Tree Hill. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she was going through so much
yeah,
during that time. And it made me like wish I would have rewatched One Tree Hill like now. Cause then again,
yeah.
like it would just be like so interesting to rewatch. And the one thing I didn't like about this audiobook was I did not like when she would sing.
Oh my God, same. Especially
Like,
listening to it. I think I had it on like 1.8 speed and it'd be like, and I was like, thank God that was set up.
same. Every time she would like do a little riff, and I was like, okay, this is so fast. And
Yeah.
maybe if I was listening to it like at an appropriate one speed, maybe it would be better. But like when I listened to audiobooks fairly quickly, it was not the vibe for me. But other than
Yeah.
that, that's my only complaint about that book on audiobook.
Agreed. I also loved the little like Wilmington, North Carolina tidbits as
Yeah.
someone who's visited and wants to move there. That was fun to see too. Like talking about, how she bought a house there and going to the beach. And it was just that was really fun. I liked that little tidbit. But yeah, the singing, thank you for even bringing that up because I forgot that even happened. I think I just like blocked it out of my mind. I was like, that did not just happen.
Yeah. I like ended up pretty much listening to that like in an evening. I colored while Ryan played Call of Duty or something.
There was a new
And
update, so I'm sure he was playing. Gavin was playing
yeah,
all weekend.
yeah, he was playing that. And then he's trying to get back into gaming, which I'm excited for him because we've been too busy for him to be able to do that. I remember just listening to that and I was like, girl,
Yeah,
because I even don't like her singing on One Tree Hill. Like it gives me the ick. And so it just was like one
agreed.
of these things where I was like, Haley, let's stop. I
Yeah,
also just can't believe her name is not Haley James Scott. Like it's very
yeah,
hard for me to like actually what her name's Bethany, I think.
yeah. But she goes by
Yeah.
Joy,
Yeah.
which
That
is even more far removed from what I feel as though her name should be.
yeah. Joy.
Yeah,
And her daughter's name's Rosie.
yeah. I love that. I was like,
Oh,
oh, Rosie.
yeah, I was like, there's some connections here. But that's one of my recs. You recommended that book from Lisa Marie Presley. Do you have any other books you want to recommend?
Yeah, I'm a fantasy girl.
Oh no, not this one.
I'll get excited, everybody. I have one fantasy series that I enjoyed, One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, the Shepherd King duology. They were great. They're, I would say, a step above um, Divine Rivals, Ruthless Vows, because that's technically a YA
Mm,
duology, whereas this one I would say is not. There isn't like a ton of spice. There is like two spicy scenes, well, one in each book. Um, but it was good. It was fantasy that like wasn't super far removed from the world that we like live in. I did a little like weekly reading wrap up video, and I was like, I said that this is the kind of fantasy that doesn't make you stare at the wall and be like, what the fuck is going on? You
yeah.
know? But it was good and I enjoyed it, and I got a lot of recommendations from everybody of what I should read next if I enjoyed those. So I'll keep you all updated on my fantasy journey.
I'm happy for you. That is on my 10 before the end. I just was looking on Goodreads to see how many pages it is because I wasn't sure. And
Yeah,
399 is not bad for
it's
a
not.
fantasy book. And it's on Kindle Unlimited.
Yep.
Pretty positive. I do really want to get into it. I've really just neglected my 10 before the end, and I'm just like reading whatever
Okay.
whatever to survive. But I need to actually look at some of those things on there because I'm like, it's good inspo for the things that I actually do want to read, but I keep putting off. On the fantasy line, this is not really a rec, but I am getting back into Iron Flame. It is
How's it going?
slow moving. I'm gonna do the audiobook for a
Yeah.
while. I'm only like, I think I've listened to 2 chapters on the audiobook, and I'm just like,
It's
I just
hard because I feel like we're far removed from it now. Like it's like reading ACOTAR. It'd be like if we wanted to jump back in and start again with ACOTAR. It's like, wait, where are we in the world? What is going on? I forget how Fourth Wing ended. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot.
It's hard. This is hard work over here, ladies. Don't want to miss out on the Fourth Wing lore, especially being on TikTok. Like I really do want to be in it. So
Yeah.
I will be forcing myself through it. And my other rec that I have is from our girl Connor here. I am finally reading her favorite book, and it is the one by John Mars. I know Emily's also reading it in the book club. And I am like 70% of the way through, and I really love it. It's good.
Ooh, is it a thriller?
There's like, it's like dystopian, kind of like sci-fi-y. So, but this is
Ooh.
how the other John Mars book I read, The Marriage Act, was the flow of it is you follow like 5 characters through the book, and every chapter is a different character. So it honestly takes me to about like 15% of the way through to be like actually
Who's who?
understanding who all the people are, and like, okay, this person's storyline goes with this, and like actually keeping it straight, because I get really confused when there's that many people that we're alternating through. But now that I'm in it, it's so exciting. And there's like, pretty much it's just about like a person that discovers that in your DNA you have one specific person that is your match, and they could live
Oh,
anywhere in the world, and you can do this DNA test and you can find your match, and if they do the DNA test, you guys can be matched together, and you are like the most compatible versions of yourselves for each other. And so you follow 5 different people going through this kind of experience, and there's murder, there's like infidelity, there's so much like twists and turns throughout it, and it's really good. I'm excited to see like how it like comes to an end, but I will probably finish it in the next day or two.
I love that. Emily commented on the Instagram, and she said that she was reading it too, and I answered back and I was like, looks like I need to jump in on this too, especially if it's like dystopian society. We love that. So
That's like my
cool. I'm
favorite,
excited.
honestly. Yeah, and I mean, I know that you aren't a big John Mars fan from that one book you read, but this
I'll
is the
give him a
second one
chance.
I read, and I like it.
Okay, I'll definitely give him a chance. Oh, I finished Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve
Oh,
Kavanaugh
finally.
on my TBR for a while. I
Yeah.
flew through it in like a day. It was really good. I said that if you liked Look Closer by David Ellis or None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, excuse me, follows not a similar storyline, but if you liked those, you will like this. Really good, lots of twists. Jaw was on the floor. I was reading it before bed the one night, and I was like, and Gavin was like, "Is that book that good?" And I was like, "Yeah, there was just like a huge twist." So, but I don't want to say too much. It like if you say too much, it'll ruin basically the whole
Yeah.
thing. But
Is
it's
it
really
like,
good.
does it have podcast elements like None of This Is
I
True? Or like, what do you mean by
know.
that?
More so that it's like two females who have no connection to each other, but they meet
Mm,
at a meeting and form a friendship, and then based on the friendship, They find out things about each other that are similar, and they want to do something, like they're each going to do something for each other.
Okay. Okay. I get what you mean then, because that makes a lot of sense with None of This Is True then. What was
Yeah.
the other one you said? None of This Is True,
Look
or?
closer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
More
Yep.
so in the look closer fact of being a lot of twists and turns. Like, it's just, if you liked those two, this book is like a baby of those two.
Oh, I love that. Like, you always do a really good job of like recommending books that are similar, or like finding comparisons. I always feel like you do a really
Thank
good job
you.
about that.
I get asked all the time to do videos like that, and I feel like I'm horrible at it, so I don't ever do them. So
You
I
should just
appreciate
write
you
them
saying
down
that.
when you like that one specifically. Like put that in your notes, and then maybe
Yeah.
it'll take you like a few months to like figure it out. But
Yeah.
then it might come like easier to you, because like it's hard when people want specific book videos like that, and you're like, I don't know. I
Have you
read
ever been asked to
here.
do like Taylor Swift albums as books? And I'm like, I'm a Swiftie, but like I'm not that, like I'm not the right person for that job.
No, I am not good at stuff like that. Nope. That's not
Yeah.
for me. But there is a book talker out there, I'm sure, that does a really fabulous job with that. It's just not me.
Definitely.
I
If
don't even
you
consider myself a book talker, honestly. I think I create 2 to 3 book videos a month.
Yeah. I do book videos because people ask for them, but I'm not a part of like the book talk community. Like I always get comments and they're like, "Do you see the book talk drama?" And I'm like, "What? We read books. Like there should be no drama. I don't even know what that could be." So no, I don't, and I don't want to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I only follow like one book talker that I really like. What is her name?
I follow Sydney, who does a lot of like her videos are always like purpley hued. She has like purple lights in her room. She has great thriller recommendations. And then I also follow, her name's Jolie. She's cute. She's I don't know. I just follow her too.
Maybe I'm like, what is
That's
this
literally
girl?
it.
Oh my gosh, and now it's gonna kill me, because there's this one girl that I follow that I actually really like her stuff, but her name is not coming to me. Also, even like when people are like, book talk said this book is so good and this book sucks, and it's like, well, yeah, that's because people have opinions, and so it's like you might hate a book, but other people think a book is great. Like
Yeah.
that's just how opinions work. So I don't really follow a lot of book talkers, because I just try to make my own thoughts and opinions.
Definitely. No, like even walking into Browseabout or Barnes and Noble and there's a table and it's like book talk recommendations and it's like It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover and la, 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 la. And I'm like, this is why I started making book videos, to let people know that there are other books than Colleen Hoover and Freida McFadden. Like there are other good books out there. Those are great gateways into the world of reading, but like come over to the good side where we're going to show you like actual good books.
And she talks about romance.
Eden.
Is her Eden? That's her name.
Eden.
Yes. I think that she is so cute.
Her accent is everything, and she is so well spoken and gives really great hot takes in a very like eloquent way.
Yep. I think that she, like, I love how concise she is with her videos. And I love how like her format of them. I don't make book talk videos like her, but I just really I like her stuff. And I do not really follow any book talkers, but I think that her stuff's really good, and she's just very beautiful to look at.
I have another recommendation too. Her name's Lexi, but her name on Book Talk is Newly Nova. And she does these perfect reading wrap ups at the end of every month where she gives you this perfect synopsis of the book without spoiling everything, but in such a well done way. I can't even explain it. Like the sentences that this girl puts together click so well in my mind. I'm like, I just want to like crack open your skull and like climb into your brain. In the least weird way possible.
But like, it is actually so impressive when people can do that, because you know how hard it is at the end of the month to look at all the books that you read and try to give a synopsis for a book that actually will be helpful to people, but not over explain. Yep. It is so hard that half the time I just am like, I say my opinion. I don't even say anything about the book, because I'm like, I can't form my words very well. So it's very impressive when people can do that.
Yes, highly recommend her. And she does ads really well. Like she did an ad for, I guess Netflix has games on it now, but she did an ad for them where she was pretending to be like two different people and like dialogue between two people. And I was like, I didn't even realize this was an ad. Like she killed it. She's great at everything she does. And I just feel like she deserves all the followers in the world. I love her.
That's awesome. I want to be that person that people are like, I didn't even know this was an ad, but I don't think I'm good enough yet at that. It's so hard. It's so hard.
I'm like, this is Rainstorm. like I swear all creativity goes out the window when a brand's like, okay, we want to work with you, and I'm like, okay, and then I just forget everything I've ever learned about just being me, and I'm like, I follow the brief to a T, and I'm like,
It's so hard though
yeah,
because you know about like the edits and whatnot, and so you're like, I just want it to be like right for the brand. But it is really nice when like when I work with Happy V, they let me have so much creative control,
love that.
and my videos do so much better because they are just very natural and like they make sense versus having to follow like a word for word brief. So, but it is so hard. Like I'm always so impressed with content creators when they can make their ads look so seamless because I want to try to do that and I do try, but it is so hard to do like and execute like consistently.
I was going to say that about your Happy V ad. I was surprised they let you mention other brand names. That's a huge thing where like I'm like I've worked with Amazon before and they're like, we want you to do a haul, but like not say the brand of what the item is. And I'm like, that defeats the purpose of a haul. Like that doesn't make sense. So I like that they let you actually mention other brands that are not competitors of theirs, but like also recommendations that you actually use.
It makes it so much more natural. And you can also like, they let you wear logos too. They were like, it doesn't matter what you wear.
I literally have 3 shirts that I rotate through when I'm filming an ad: a plain black long sleeve, a plain white short sleeve, and another plain white long sleeve, because I'm like, no brands. Like, and you, God forbid, you have to do a reef shoot.
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, any more recs, or should we get into these submissions?
I literally feel like I have one eye on the screen and one eye like drifting over to the paper because I want to look at what's on this so bad.
Okay, do you have any like book confessions or book hot takes that you want to share before we get into this?
Yeah. I don't really know if this is a hot take or a confession, but one thing that absolutely drives me insane is when people don't know the correct way to spell a title of a book. Specifically The Nightingale. It drives me insane when people spell it Nightengale. It's Nightingale. And it just drives me nuts. Like any book title, anything, like capitalization is so different because there are so many random letters or words that are capitalized and not. But like misspelling a book title just drives me up the effing wall. Like Google is free.
You're like, please. Well, also like if you do it once, like there was like like you just had like an autocorrect issue, whatever.
Yeah.
But like if it's consistently like you're like, my favorite book is XYZ and you keep spelling it that same way, it's like it can't be your favorite book if you didn't know how to spell it right. Probably feel that way because The Nightingale is like such a like important book to you that like you notice if someone's like in your comments being like, have you read The Nightingale? And you're like, yeah, I've read The Nightingale.
I'm like, no, I've read The Nightingale. Not The Nightingale, The Nightingale.
Yeah. Because I feel like we've said a lot of our hot takes. We've told you guys like what books we don't like, and we've done the ACOTAR thing. Like I won't do that again. But one of the series that gets talked about a lot online that I started to read and I read the first book and I will not be continuing is the Magnolia Park series.
Ooh.
That series for me, and I love romance. I love Gossip Girl. This book I feel like was truly made for like me, but I hated it so much and I was so confused the whole time why people like it so much. But again, it's just different preferences. But that to me, I think is like a very overhyped book, but I know so many people like they hold it like near and dear to their heart.
Yeah. A lot of people feel the way about Magnolia Parks that I feel about The Nightingale. And I've heard so many mixed reviews on that book. Truly probably the most mixed reviews on that series of all time. It's just like either people love it and they recommend it and they ask about it 24/7, or people are like, no, don't read it. It's not worth it. So if you don't like it, I know I won't like it. So that's all I need to know.
The biggest mishap, I think, in that series is them changing the covers.
Yeah, because I would love the old ones.
The old one, I don't even remember what like any of like the next ones, but like the Magnolia Parks cover, the original one, is like ingrained in my brain, and that was a huge reason why I read it because I was like, this is a beautiful book. And then they changed them to like just like basic like legs on a cover.
I was just gonna say the legs. They're pulling an Ellen Hildebrand, putting human legs on a cover. And also the cover, I feel, as the cover of the original ones is a little bit misleading. It almost gives me like whimsical fantasy vibes, not like romance, Gossip Girl kind of vibes.
It actually is probably good they changed it for the fact that I thought it was like a whimsical, like almost like woodland creature kind of
Yeah.
novel. Like maybe like this woman was best friends with the chipmunk at like in Central Park. Like that's kind of
Yes.
what I was getting from that too. So it's probably good they changed them, but I just loved that cover. I thought the artwork was so beautiful.
Definitely. It's again ingrained in our brains. And if I were to ever read those books, I would need the original ones. I don't think I will, but I would need those original ones because I'm tired of looking at human legs. Cough cough,
And
Ellen Hildebrand.
no, Ellen needs to stop. Well, if you end up reading those books for science purposes and for research purposes, you'll have to let us know.
I will.
But yeah, Brady and I are going to probably just like popcorn back and forth between some of these book confessions, and then we'll do the book unpopular opinions, hot takes.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. I'm loving this first one that I'm seeing because I feel like we've all been there. It says, I lied about reading 2 books last year to meet my Goodreads goal. And like,
honestly,
same girl.
That's fine.
Like
that to me is fine.
Yeah. Do what you got to do. And like counting novellas too. Sometimes I'm like, does this even like, I don't really rate novellas because I'm like, how do you rate a book that's 50 pages long?
Yeah.
But we still count them towards our Goodreads goals, even though they're not technically like it's a book, but it's not like a 400-page book. Like, where is that cutoff? So I do not blame you. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, like when I look at my Goodreads goal at the end of the year and I've got like 5 novellas on there, I'm like, yeah, does that count? But to me, that's enough. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, a Goodreads goal is for you. So if you could sleep at night knowing that you fibbed on it, okay, that's fine by me. We'll also we'll be honest with our thoughts on these too. But like, so I don't want anyone to be like offended if like we're like, we don't agree with you, but that's why they're like fun and confessions and they're anonymous. Okay, this one was funny. I lend a lot of books out to my friends and I've gotten very close to ending a friendship from someone returning my book to me ruined. And I can relate to this. One of my friends ruined a book of mine and it actually broke my heart so much. And I feel like that's valid. Like people do not take care of your books the way you would take care of your books.
It's also really rude. Like, it's a piece of your property. It's like if you gave someone a skirt to wear and they came back and it's like ruined with champagne all over it. Like, instead of returning it to me, just go out and buy me a new book or a new skirt and make it better and fess up and be like, I'm so sorry. A water bottle spilled in my bag, or like, I don't know, like I dropped it and grabbed the cover and the cover ripped off, whatever. Like, it's okay. Yeah. Unless it was like a special edition book, just go buy a new one. But I think it's beyond rude because it is a piece of your property that you're being nice already to lend to somebody and then you're going to return it in really shitty condition is just rude.
Honestly, I wouldn't even really lend out books to friends, and I'm not even super picky of my books, but just because that's happened to me before, I'm like, unless like you really are asking and you're like, I really want to read that book, do you by chance have it? But I wouldn't like voluntarily be like, go ahead and look at my bookshelf and like go ahead and if there's something you want to like read, go ahead. And you lend out a good amount of your books, don't you? Or have you in the past?
Yes, but I've stopped because they're not returned to me in the proper condition.
Yep. I think it's valid that you could end a friendship over that.
I don't think the girl who I used to lend them to, I don't think she is like I don't think she's a Patreon member, but the one time she sent me a Snapchat of her out on the boat, like reading the book, and she had the paperback cover like bent behind it. And I literally texted her and I said, unbend the cover right now. Like, we're friends, so I didn't feel bad saying that, but I was like, I literally said, and please do not bend the pages. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
With someone else's book, like I just wouldn't do that. Like if someone like let me borrow a book, I would be so careful with it. If it's my own book, I don't care as much. Like it's really like if I mess it up, like that's on me.
Like I'm reading Fahrenheit 451. I started it last night, but I took a weed gummy and I genuinely don't know what happened in the first like 10 pages. So I'm gonna have to reread it again. But I literally read the same sentence over and over again. I was like, huh? And I was like, I should probably not be reading this right now. No, this is a book from Thrift Books. It has been well loved. The cover is, it's very well loved. If I lent this to a friend and they did that with this book, I wouldn't mind because it is used. I mean, it's already a little bit creaky. Like when I did that, this might come off at any time, but this I wouldn't mind. But I think it was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Mm-hmm. Okay. Am I boring you? It's okay. Lay down. There we go. Okay.
Oh, it's Part of Your World though. Yeah. You're like, come on.
Yeah. I'm like, I only have one copy of that. Like, oh, my light died. I have another one.
Oh, perfect. Taunting creative things. There you go. Thank God.
Oh, literally the same light. This one I feel as though I relate to heavily. I cannot resist buying books. Sometimes I think I prefer buying them and having them over actually reading them. I agree.
Problems.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like because even if you read them on your Kindle, you'll most likely buy them, right?
Depends how much I liked it, but yeah.
Mhm.
And again, I'm always like, well, someone might want to buy or borrow it. And then I'm like, but I don't want anyone to borrow my books. So it's like,
They're for you to be able to look at and admire, and that's okay. We're
right.
all allowed to like collect things,
Yes.
and you're not a hoarder. You just are
No.
gonna, you're a collector.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for validating my feelings.
Oh, I'll validate pretty much anything. Okay, my partner absolutely benefited from me reading the Chestnut Springs series. And you read some of this, right?
Mhm.
Was it like, is it good spice, or is this, because I know you said that these books are like a little overly descriptive, but
Yeah.
did you think the spice was good, or did you think it was kind
Yeah.
of
I
yeah.
mean, all spice is good.
Yeah.
There's a few on here. I'm literally looking at one right now. I read spicy books to help me get in the mood.
Yeah.
We've all been there. Like there have been many times that I'm reading a spicy book and like I get flushed and I'm like, you're ready to
Okay.
go. You're like, all right,
Yeah.
let's, thank you. Chestnut Springs is great for that, especially if you like Yellowstone, like big hunky cowboys. Fuck yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I
Love
mean,
that.
that's like, I've envisioned that when I'm watching Yellowstone, that I envision that that's what the Chestnut Springs series is probably about. Kind of Indigo Ridge too. When I read that,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I kind of envisioning Yellowstone vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, okay. This is a hot take right here. I hated Remarkably Bright Creatures, mostly because Cameron is insufferable, a spoiled man-child with a victim mentality that never improves the entire book. There is not enough of the best POV, which is the octopus.
Wow, I do not agree, but yeah, that is a confession.
Yeah. I mean, I feel as though Marcellus was such a king. He just, I don't know. I loved Remarkably Bright Creatures. So I support your hot take, but I agree. I respectfully disagree.
Yeah, like that. I don't think that there's actually like anything in that book that I like didn't like.
Yeah, agreed. My brother sent it to me the other day, just a screenshot of it on, I think, Audible. And before he even asked the question he was going to ask me, I already responded and was like, yes, listen to
You're
it.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
immediately.
He goes, well, you answered that question. I was like, yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
fabulous.
easy. No, I remember when I was listening to that book, I was road tripping to a wedding in August, and I had like 15 minutes left, and I had to go into the wedding, and I was like, it's actually the worst thing ever. It was horrible. I was like, I don't want to shoot this wedding. I just want to listen to this book.
The bride is going to have to wait because Marcellus is Marcellus is talking. Please stop.
I kind of agree with this confession. I feel like after reading Pretty Girls, I can't get into thrillers that aren't as dark. I don't know what that says about me.
Louder for the people in the back because I agree.
And I'm like, I read that one. I'm like, okay, are they speaking directly to me? Because I feel like thrillers just don't hit the same way after you read Pretty Girls. And I don't know, like, I'm not sensitive to graphic content. So obviously, we always say check your trigger warnings when it comes to Pretty Girls because it is incredibly graphic. But I want more thrillers like that.
Agreed. That book, the fact that there are also people out there who have DNF that book blow my mind because I feel like the graphic parts were graphic, but there is so much more to it. First, like half of the book is just so it sucked me right in. I remember we went to I think we had a concert in Dewey. I read it like last summer or whatever, and I almost canceled because I wanted to stay home and read that book so badly. I loved it, but I agree. Every thriller after that, I'm like, where's the stabbing?
Where's
The machete?
No, and honestly, I might read that book again just to feel something soon, like when it comes to thrillers, because
Yeah.
I feel like like nothing. I've read really good thrillers since that book, but I read that like in January of 22, I want to say, and it's been a little harder out here as a thriller lover.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and people ask again for recommendations similar to that, and I'm like, when I find one, I will let you know.
Mhm.
But one, don't judge me, and two, I haven't found one yet.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to find.
Kind of going back on what we said, this one says, I skip any spice in books. It makes me cringe.
Honestly, I do have a threshold when it comes to spice where if I'm reading a book, I even like even books that I love from authors I love, like if we're on like the 10th spicy scene, I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, like we've now just progressed to like the next hole and I'm not really feeling like it. Like I'm like, we haven't done anything crazy new. And I'm just like, and sometimes I will skip those parts too, because I'm like, let's just get like I
Yeah.
want to get back to the storyline because it just kind of feels like filler sometimes.
Agreed. It's always like the best. The first scene is always the best because there's always so much angst that's leading up to them to like finally doing it. And then, yeah, like the second time is great too. But I mean, even like the third time, I'm like, oh my God, like, got it. But then they are spicy books for a reason. So, but I definitely understand why people would go past them. Like, it really depends on the author, I would say, because sometimes it can be really, really, really descriptive and like you can straight up visualize someone's penis in your brain. But then other times you're like, it's too much. I'm like, I don't need to know like that he
Everything.
took 5 steps and it's, I don't know. I agree.
Yeah. No, I get it. I also like definitely have to be like in the mood to read spice. And sometimes I just want to read a romance. And sometimes like there is good storyline in romances and you just have to kind of like get yourself through the spice if you have to.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually wish I finished this book so I could know what this is referring to. But it says, I tell everyone that people that like Haunting Adeline need therapy, but sent my husband screenshots of a certain chapter and we acted it out. And she said, not the scene with the gun. And I was like, the gun? What?
I love this for her.
I know. I'm like, I honestly need elaboration. I need to know what scene this is so I can at least like look it up. Because when she said not the gun, I was like, I only read 100 pages of this book and I decided that people that like this book also need therapy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just curious now if that
I
was
love
you
that for her.
in this message.
I love that for you. And I just love that for you. I feel like spicy books can save a relationship at this point.
Yeah.
Like realistically, I mean, it takes sometimes in a relationship you like get into a rut and you have to like remember to keep finding yourself and what you enjoy.
Yep.
So I feel like books can really do that. And then contrary to the last one I just read, I came across another confession here. When I read romance books, I will literally skim through the whole thing and only fully read the sex scenes.
Also, mad respect. They're like, I am here for one thing and one thing only. You can literally, because this has come up for me, like when I was reading Credence, I then had looked up like how, like people talking about Credence, because I was like, who is reading this book, whatever. And people were posting like, these are the spicy scenes or
Yes.
chapters from Credence. So like people actually will go on TikTok and be like, if you're reading a very spicy book, they'll tell you like chapter 11, 15, 18. And it's like,
Oh, Rosie,
okay, so
I am that person.
read those chapters.
I am that person. I Googled when I started Credence, what are the spicy, like I literally went to TikTok. TikTok has become my new Google. What are the spicy scenes in Credence? I just wanted to know how many I had to get through to get to that point because that's where the craziness happens. So I was like, oh, okay, chapter 16, I'm on chapter 10, I have 6 more to go. But I didn't skip forward, but I like to know what's coming.
Yeah. I need to know with this person that wrote this in is do they count those as finished books on their Goodreads then? So if you read 6 chapters of Spice, are you like, then do you read the last chapter where they like get married in the epilogue and then you're like, that's good for me?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Feel
free to comment in or don't because this is anonymous, so totally up to you.
We feel like following up.
Yeah.
These are our questions that we have after these. Yeah. When I was younger, I told everyone I read the Harry Potter series, but I never did and still haven't. It's actually so funny to me.
I would take that to my grave or just read them. Read them. If you're watching, read them because they are good.
Yeah, and it's like I never was a reader growing up. And so I never read the Harry Potter books. I own all of them and I've read all the way through 4 and then I stopped for some reason. So I need to get back into reading them. Because I used to be someone that I would just get really quiet when people would talk about the books because I would be like, I love Harry Potter. And they'd be like, oh my God, this book is my favorite. And I'd be like, yeah, I love the movies.
Well, I mean, if you like one, you're going to like the other. Mm-hmm. I like that I read them first because I envisioned Hogwarts to be so different than the way that the movie portrays it to be. So for that reason, I'm glad I read them before, but I do still love the movies. Like I would say that Harry Potter is the only book to TV show / movie adaptation that I genuinely enjoy.
Yeah. And do you know that they're readapting it into TV?
I did not know that.
Yeah. I don't know when that's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be on Max. But so we'll get a whole new Harry, Hermione, and Ron eventually. And sorry, Dodger keeps moving my computer. He's sleeping and like pushing it. So I'm curious to see if they do it as a series. Obviously, it'll be longer than a movie. So, like, will they be able to include more things that they missed from the book? Because that is one of the fun things when you read. Like, because I watched the movie so much growing up and still do, when I remember specifically reading the 3rd book, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many things in here that, they're not in the movie at all. So,
yeah, definitely.
It'll be interesting to see.
I know. I wonder if it'll be like a 7 season series and then we just get a bunch of episodes, or will they like consolidate it
Yeah, I don't
down?
know.
Because there's a lot that goes into these books. So that'll be really interesting to see. And I hope they do a good job with it.
Yeah, me too.
This one I feel as though I can relate to again. I go out and buy books the day that they are released and then proceed to not read them for like 2 years. No,
No,
literally.
literally, I think that this is about you. This is like with Swan Song too, that people are like,
Yeah, I'm
when
like,
are you gonna read Swan Song? And you're like,
are you coming at my throat? I
no.
literally ran out the day that Iron Flame was released and I bought a bunch of copies of it to give away to people. My bookstore literally had a cap. You could only buy 3. So I bought 3 and I still have not read the book. So I agree.
Yeah. It also is like so hard to read all the books that are out. So it's just like,
Yes.
and you want to read them at the right time. You want to be in the
Yep.
mood for it. So it's just sometimes it just doesn't line up.
Yeah. We just want to have options, you know?
I actually liked Birthday Girl and the age gap romance between the two main characters. Did you ever read this Penelope Douglas book?
Mhm.
It's like
Someone-
about a dad that's like probably in his 40s or 50s, and like I think that she might be like 20. And I liked this book too. From the Penelope Douglas books that I did read, this is probably one of the ones that I did like. I read it like so long ago though, so like it's hard to know if like I would stand by that opinion now.
Yeah. I love an age gap romance, so I'm here for that. Someone else also said, I actually loved Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, but I don't say that to too many people because it's so weird and I don't want people to think I'm in love with their boyfriend's dad. Or my boyfriend's dad.
Yeah. You're like, I'm not, but I did enjoy reading it. Like it was
Yeah.
fun. Also, like, if you like a book, it doesn't mean that like that's like your kink or something. And even if it
Yeah.
is, like, that's great. But like it doesn't, just because you enjoyed reading about it doesn't mean that it's like you have to like identify yourself as that.
Yeah. I have absolutely reread chapter 25 of The Paradise Problem to get in the mood.
Oh my gosh, now I need to go read that one. I can't
So
remember what happened.
That's like the first time they like hook
Oh.
up in the book.
You like
So
this.
Things are happening.
I really like the Paradise Problem and all of the spice in it and the banter. And that was one where I wouldn't skip the spice because I liked the book so much.
Yeah, the spice was good. It wasn't cringy. There wasn't too much. I think there's only like 2, maybe 3 chapters that are spicy.
Yeah. Which is like perfect. That's perfect for me.
And the good like banter going into it, then you know they have chemistry. It's not like they're just like hooking up to hook up. Like they're actually like there's feelings.
Yeah, you're invested in these people.
Yeah.
I tell everyone I hate Colleen Hoover books and that they're terrible, but I've never actually read one.
Slay. I love that for you.
We're not big Colleen Hoover fans over here. I will, like, if she came out with a new book, I would read it. It's kind of like my Frida McFadden of it all. Like, they're easy books to read. Everyone's reading them, so I want to be involved. But, like, I generally don't feel, like, super attached to them. I might have a couple that I really like, but I'm not really recommending them ever.
If, like, Colleen or Frida come out with, like, new books, I don't think I'll ever read them. Colleen is just...
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel bad that, like, Colleen and Frida come out with books, and then it, like, bumps any other book out of like the limelight. Like, God forbid you are also an author releasing a book on the same Tuesday that Colleen or Frida McFadden is releasing a book. Like, your book automatically just gets bumped down to number 2. And that makes me sad.
It is sad.
Yeah.
I care more about finishing a book and reaching my goal each month as opposed to actually enjoying the book. So I'm like, I kind of get that. Like, I generally want to get through books, and I don't expect to enjoy every book I read.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And this one's kind of similar. Sometimes I will spoil the ending of books for myself because I just need to know what happens.
I used to do this a lot, like growing up when I would read. I don't do this now, but it does take like a lot of self-constraint to not just like get to the end and be like, okay, actually, how does this resolve?
Have you ever done it where you accidentally like I'll look into the back of the book to see how many pages the book is, and you'll see like one sentence that ruins the rest of the book for you? Have you ever done that?
Yes. Or like I'll see like a name.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I thought they were dead.
Okay, that name hasn't come up in a minute.
Yeah.
These two go together. One is I dog your pages. And then the next one said, I think you should go to jail if you dog your pages. Sorry, not sorry.
I break
dog your pages.
I have one here. I break the spine on all of my paperbacks.
Okay. What do you think about this? I don't read a lot of like physical books. I have dog-eared pages because I don't have a bookmark, and but again, I'm not like a physical book reader, so I don't have a lot of like rules for myself when I read.
I would literally rip a hair out of my head and use it as a bookmark before I dog-ear a page.
Okay, I don't think that we are confused on how you feel about dog earing pages. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
I don't know. There are so many things you could use as a bookmark, even not a bookmark, like a receipt, a dollar bill, like a gum wrapper. And
Hmm.
I don't know, I just think of that forever that page is damaged.
Hmm. And the book has feelings, I'm sure, to you. So you're like,
Yeah, like when you crack its spine, it's probably like, ah.
or it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
It's all my books in there are like, Brady, please crack our spines.
Like I have not had relief in years.
Yeah.
Please.
I was watching this one girl's video. She was like redoing her books and she was picking them up and just throwing them. And I was like,
That's crazy. Also,
insane behavior.
someone made like a tree out of their
Yes.
books. Yeah, and like I immediately went to the comments because I was like, I bet people are like, I could never. And
Yeah.
every comment was like, I want to do this, but like I can't do this to my books. I can't do this to my books.
Yeah. And
But
like your books are yours and you feel free to, it's the same people probably feel about annotating and highlighting and writing in the margins. Like
yeah,
it's damaging a book, but in your mind, you are doing something that enhances the reading for you. So,
yeah.
it's to each their own. I could never. Ooh, I feel like we'll relate to this one. I forget the plot of most books after I read them. When people talk about them, I play like I'm going to confirm or deny plot points, but I really totally do not remember anything.
Honestly, this is so relatable.
You're talking to the right girls.
Yeah, I get comments all the time of like, how do you remember all the books you read? And I'm like, I don't.
No,
Like,
literally.
truly, like the best ones stick with me. If I can remember a name a month later, I am proud of myself because, like,
Yeah.
again, we read a lot of books and it's hard to distinguish which ones, but like, you remember the ones that are important to you. Like, I won't forget The Great Alone. Like, I
Yeah.
will not forget that book. But am I going to forget a Frida McFadden or a random KU thriller? Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking right now of the Paradise Problem. Gun to my head, I could not tell you the names of the two main characters.
No. But I do
But I
remember
love the
them,
book.
like kayaking or canoeing together, and it was so funny. Like I mean, like I
She was
remember like points
hilarious.
of it, like different parts. But yeah, the names are really hard for me to remember too because the names are honestly weirdly not important to me when I read a
Yeah.
book. I don't
Agreed.
really think
Definitely.
about it. I don't even know if like I really take in like as I'm even reading like this is the character this and this is the character that. Like I just am like that's the female main character and this is the male main character.
Definitely. And I do a lot of reviews on Goodreads too, so that's helpful to me where I go back afterwards and I'm like, oh, okay, like that's kind of the gist. But if somebody today were to be like, tell me about the Paradise Problem, I'd be like, oh, it's about like a fake dating relationship and there's some spice, happens in a tropical place, great banter, loved it. Like that's what I would say. But I don't remember their names. I don't remember the details, like the nitty-gritty.
That's okay. I feel like
Yeah.
that's okay. I have one last one for confessions, and this one made me laugh. I stole a library book when I was 8, and it still haunts me to this day as a 30-something-year-old. I still have it and feel like I should randomly mail it in.
I was just gonna ask, I hope you still have it because that's no, at this point, keep it.
I was like, that's yours at this point.
Yeah.
Like, there is like probably a statute of limitations of like when you can return a book, and they're going to be like 22 years old. They're going to be like, it's okay, you can just have it. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, we should not be stealing library books, period. To
But
your
we
children.
forget. And
But
honestly, I feel like a book that you read when you were 8 is like a kind of like a sentimental thing. Like
Yeah.
it was a book you enjoyed when you were 8 years old, and now you're older and you still have that. And you can eventually one day give it to maybe your future children if that is in your timeline of life.
Yeah.
If not, it's a funny memory and a funny story. And we are telling you right now to forgive that burden of yourself because it's okay.
I was just going to say, we allow you to unburden yourself and to live in
Yes.
peace now because I do not think that you should live stressed about it.
I think we should move into the unpopular opinions.
Perfect. Okay, well, this first
Start
one.
us off.
What? Oh, so
I
yeah.
said start us off.
Perfect. You'll agree with this one. I did not enjoy the Chestnut Springs series. It was way too cringy, boring, and way too long. Did you write this?
I did not.
I have yet to pick up this book or this series because of your opinions on it, and we generally like the similar books. But I'm like the general premise sounds like something I would like, but the writing style sounds like something I wouldn't like.
Yeah. If you are enjoying the Indigo Ridge series, read Crossroads next because they're both like ranchers in Montana. Same similar vibes as Chestnut Springs, but way better because they're older characters, not cringy, still some spice. So I would not even like, don't even waste your time on them. Like they took TikTok by storm. I bought them all. I ended up selling them all on Pango because I was like, these are just not my vibe.
Yeah. Have you been to Montana?
No,
We should go to Montana.
we
It's so
should.
beautiful.
I would
Not
love
in the
that.
winter when we might get together. It's horrible then. But like in
Yeah.
the like summer and like early fall, Montana is so beautiful.
Oh, I
But
could
I actually
only
really like
imagine.
reading about like books in Montana because it's so pretty.
Yeah, I could only imagine how beautiful it is because it's gorgeous. Anything that's gorgeous when it's snowy is like even better in the fall.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Hit us with your first hot take.
Okay, Emily Henry books are not good and try too hard to be funny and quirky.
I mean, I get it. I was this person too for a long time, but I am a changed woman. I'm an Emily Henry girl now, but I know a lot of people don't like her books.
I feel like it depends on which ones you've read. Like if I like my last Emily Henry book was Happy Place, which I didn't enjoy, but I didn't give Funny Story a chance, which I know you really liked. So I can't say if I agree or disagree on this because I don't think I've given her a fair chance.
Because I mean, like she only has, I mean, maybe like 5 or 6 books out.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's like she doesn't have like a what is the we I can never remember the word.
Oh,
Oh,
oof, oof. Oh my God, what was that?
I got it. I
It
just have to say her discography isn't very big, and I was like, I know it's
was
not.
like a
Yeah, of what
au
of
revoir, au
O
revoir.
O-E pronunciation. Here we go again. Oh yeah,
Oofra.
oeuvre,
Oof, yeah.
oeuvre.
Oofra,
Is it last time when we did it? She was like oeuvre.
oofra. Yeah, she sounded
Okay.
like a phone sex worker.
Yeah, I was like, okay, she's turning us on.
Yeah,
But Emily Henry's oeuvre also just sounds so sexual. Is
yeah,
not huge, so it's like I understand that like people may have read like I didn't love Beach Read, and I feel. Did you like that one?
I did. Yes.
Yes, like, I didn't like that one. I never picked up People We Meet on Vacation because either people love or hate that one, and I just was kind of like, I'm just gonna leave it there. But I loved Funny Story. I liked Happy Place, and I loved Book Lovers. So I'm like, I've liked 3 out of the 4 books I've read from her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it as I think I like her books now.
Yeah. I I love that for you. I
Yeah.
also beach read. Didn't it happen at like a lake?
Yes, and there wasn't much beach, and her name was January, and
Yeah.
that is one that I did not like that book, and her name has stuck with me forever because I was like January.
Yeah.
That's her name.
Yeah. Definitely wild.
No.
Okay, this is an unpopular opinion because I actually also I disagree with this. ACOTAR is not fantasy, just smut. I disagree. I think there is like negative smut. When people are like, ACOTAR is fairy smut, I'm like, no, it's not. We don't get any detail. All we get is like an innuendo that they hooked up, but we're not getting like the graphic scenes. But I also have not read the last one. So I don't know if it happens more in that book, but I completely disagree. And I think ACOTAR is more fantasy than smut.
Yep.
I don't know.
I do too. I've said that too, where I like remember reading the first 3 books being like, and
Where's
especially the
smut?
second one because people were like, the second one is gonna, it's
Chapter
gonna be a
55,
twist.
chapter 55. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I'm like, maybe I just read straight up porn and disgusting, slutty books, but like,
No.
that is just very, I just don't agree with that. Going off ACOTAR. I hate the ACOTAR series with a passion. There's absolutely no way it's as popular as it is. People are lying. I just finished the 5th book and I never want to see the words mate or solstice ever again. I feel like people hear good things about this book and go in thinking it's good. But the series is trash. Makes me want to bash my head into a wall.
Should we put that on a t-shirt?
I was like, merch drop.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I agree. Louder.
Yeah, louder for the people in the back for sure. Because it's just, again, I know that there is a place for ACOTAR because obviously people love it. It just was not a book for me, and I agree with that. It's just not for me. Too long, not exciting. Wanted it to be over.
I'm cracking up. No, literally, can we put that on a t-shirt? Fourth Wing is hot garbage with 2 smiley face emojis. I feel like the author needs to go through at least 4 more edits before she publishes her books, and I feel like she has no concept of the storyline and is trying to figure it out as she goes. Trash.
Wow. Okay, like I am intrigued by this because I don't agree, which makes me be like, did I miss something? Like when I was reading, like was I also hot garbage when I was reading it? Like how do I not like I thought that it made a lot of sense. And it was easy to
Yeah.
follow.
Maybe for people who are diehard fantasy lovers, are one, maybe it's like a dumbed down version of fantasy because we're not like really deep into that world, and also how popular it was. Do you remember back when it first came out, you couldn't get it? It was like back ordered on Amazon for months. So maybe people who are like those diehard fantasy lovers have been reading fantasy since before Book Talk became a thing, since romantasy became a genre. Maybe to them, Fourth Wing is a flaming pile of garbage because there is a lot to compare it to. But for people
Yeah.
like us who are new to it, maybe that's why we enjoyed it so much, which
Yeah.
again is why reading is so great.
I could see that honestly, because I do feel like people that love fantasy do not love Fourth Wing a lot because
Yeah.
like when they read fantasy, they've been reading for so long and they've read all these books. And again, like similar to any genre, there are similarities across all genres. So
Yeah.
like if you're reading a romance book, you're going to follow multiple tropes and you're probably going to see similar storylines. Same with fantasy, where you're going to get similar fantasy storylines or characters or creatures or whatever are going to pop up and people will be like, yeah, I already read this book.
Yeah,
It's like, but
definitely.
it's new to me. So I'm like, I like it.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree. Which is
Yeah.
why reading is so great and subjective, and why I'm glad we're doing this, because we're hearing from so many people. And then if you put in an unpopular opinion, you can also hear from the other side.
Yeah. I
as
think
well.
it's fun. Going off fantasy, maps and fantasy books don't help me at all. Yes, they're pretty, but I never go back and reference them when I'm reading. And I mean, I agree with this because I read on Kindle. So like,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
always like,
Yep.
that's cool. And then I'm like, and I'll never see it again. But if I had a physical book, I actually do think I would like open and reference it and kind of then get an idea of like where things were at. Cause I know that when I read, I think his Fourth Wing has a map, I think. Do they? Or something? I don't know. I read a book that had a map and I ended up looking up the map, screenshotting it, and then adding it to my favorites. So I could reference and start to get a visual of like where all these things were in this
Yeah,
world.
I agree. I love maps. I think they're fun, and I think they add something if you are reading them physically, because it's easier to flip back and forth and to be like, oh, we're in this place and we traveled to here. And I'm like, okay, what direction are we going? What did you pass to get there? That's one thing I didn't love about One Dark Window. There was no map, and I had a really hard time visualizing where things were in relation to other things. Like
Mm.
that was a little confusing to me. So I enjoy maps, but I understand why people wouldn't. If you're also not maybe like a visual person or a visual learner, it might
Yeah.
just not be of, you might just not need it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
The Great Alone was way too long and bored me.
I was going to say that is so sad. And going off of that, because I was just about to make sure that you were sitting down so I could read
No,
this one.
no.
Kristen Hanna books are some of the most boring books that I've ever read.
Yeah, unfollow me right now.
I genuinely could not disagree more. Like, that is, like, I mean, one, The Great Alone is one of my favorite books I've ever read. It honestly, I might just let it be number one spot because it is so special to me. I'm like, I don't feel like it was too long at all. I could read so many more pages of a Kristen Hanna book, and that's just how I feel.
Yeah. Wow, that was like a dagger to my heart.
So you got so quiet. Like, are you gonna
Yeah,
be
I'm
okay?
just like, I'm like taking it in. I get it. I don't know. I don't get it.
Like,
I
I was
would love
trying
to look at.
to
I want to look at this person's Goodreads. Like, please, if this was you, send me your Goodreads, and I want to see what you've been reading.
Yeah, like, what are your favorite books?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm just curious. But no, I
Like,
don't.
I know you haven't read The Women yet, but like The Women is, I think, in the number 2 or 3 spot of like the best book of the year,
Yeah.
and that doesn't happen by accident.
No.
Like I would understand if someone only has ever read like The Four Winds and they're like too long, depressing. That like I get that,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. Wait, I need to tell you one more that someone wrote here about The Women. Where did it go? The Women is overrated. The main character is actually pretty weak and needy and not the heroine everyone is making her out to be. What are your thoughts? Because I haven't read this book yet.
I don't even want to like say anything about that, because I feel like anybody who sacrifices their life to fight for our country, done. What do you need? Because I'll give it to you.
Those are like the only, I think, Kristen Hanna ones that I had, but I had to say them because just because we're Kristen Hanna stans.
I don't know. I just feel like you can't say anything negative about a military book about somebody. She did so much Okay, she does so much real research when it comes to her books, interviews real people who have done what she's writing about. She went to Paris when she wrote The Nightingale. Like there are so many things that like she does ahead of time to like prepare to actually get factual information into these books. I just can't I can't agree with hating on the women when
Yep.
those women are stronger than I will ever be in my entire life. More power to you
Yep.
for feeling that way, but again, you are entitled to your opinion.
Yep.
Same with this girl who just DM'd me. No PJs are worth $98. Eye roll emoji. I said ... Okay. Then she unfollowed me, so I blocked her.
Also, side note about the $98 pajamas from Cecily and Samantha Bachman. I think that one, they're just very controversial. So whatever they do is going to get a lot of flack. People are already mad at them, period. I mean, they've made some really, really horrible decisions online. But people have to remember, not everything online is made for you. There is a market for people that will buy $400 worth of pajamas for their families because they can afford that. Not everyone can, and that is very valid. But when people are frustrated, it is like there is a market for that, and that is just kind of like the unfortunate thing. And that sometimes like not everything is made for you, which sucks when your favorite creator is coming out with things. You want it to be affordable. But sometimes they miss that, especially when like I think that a lot of their community like was hoping for something more inexpensive and they'd express that, and they didn't do a very good job about it. But like there is a market for those things. But I do think that the whole makeup of their pajamas too is like shitty.
That's what I was going to say. That's like Amazon quality pajamas. Like I've ordered pajamas from Amazon that are $20 that are made of those same materials. I think that's where like the disconnect comes.
That makes more sense because like people don't bat an eye over Skims pajamas, but again, they're good quality.
Right.
I think they were just, I mean, I've seen a lot of people be like, there is no way anyone buys this expensive pajamas. And I'm like, but people do. But they did a really bad job of communicating all of these things and making quality product for their people.
The whole situation was not handled the right way. And I don't follow either one of them, but the way that the sister was talking in the one video, like rolling her eyes and just like, she seemed pissed off that they even had to do it. But like, if you do something, you put it out into the world and someone doesn't like it, not even someone, no one likes it, you're going to have to talk about it. Like you can't just move on. It's like when Michaela made the video where she talked about the mascara and then put false eyelashes on in the next clip. Like she never talked about that. She just swept it under the rug and kept moving on with her life. And that is one way to go about your life, but you're also, that's a paid brand deal. People are coming to you for recommendations. People are spending $100 on a pair of pajamas that are shit material. Like that's not a quality product you want to put out to your people. And maybe like we worked for a while figuring out merch and just like, you know, we are waiting to even feel the items in person before we even post photos of them for you guys. Like that was a huge thing that we did. We're not in it for the money. We're not in it to sell the merch and pocket the money. Anything we make from Patreon, the merch goes right back into BRBT to make things better, to do events, to do things. And it just seems like the $98 pajamas was like a huge markup for rayon pajamas to then like, I don't know, maybe the next drop would be Poplin, like Print Fresh. But I don't know. I know how much money these girls are probably making from social media and the margins are just insane. So
I guarantee those women make $1 million at least.
Easy.
If not much more. And so it's like, it is just a little bit of disconnect, but I already think they were so far disconnected that it's not really surprising. Oh, just like, handling things with grace as well, I think goes a long way.
And like owning it and being like, yeah, we effed up. Sorry. I saw this TikTok. We can put the link in the description below. And this girl said that people follow people on the internet either one, because they find you relatable and they're like, oh, she is a normal girl. She wears normal clothing. She doesn't flaunt a lot of designer items. Or they follow somebody as like an idol or somebody that they look up to. And they're like, I want to be at that level where I can afford designer everything and wear $800 jeans and whatever. And the girl said that they're meshing the two, where they were relatable influencers, but now they're coming out with something that is a $100 pair of pajamas. And they're like, that's not your demographic. Your demographic is people who are spending money like at Old Navy for pajamas. Like even buying Gavin, myself, and Millie matching pajamas this year, I'm like, I'm not spending $100 on $100 like on pajamas. Like we're gonna get the $20 Old Navy ones, and I do feel very fortunate that Print Fresh sent me pajamas. I know they send you pajamas as
Yeah.
well, and even sharing those, I was like, I wanted a discount code before I even posted them because I know $138 for a pair of pajamas is insane.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not, but it's just putting it out for sale for $98 for a shit pair of pajamas is like, ugh.
Yeah. And your audience's trust is the most important thing on social
Yeah.
media. So like when it comes to like when Michaela did that eyelash thing or this specifically, you lose a lot of trust with the people that follow you. And that is like your currency when
Yeah.
you're an influencer. That is like, and that is literally gold as an influencer or content creator because your audience is everything to you. So when you distrust them or when they lose their trust in you, you kind of
Yeah.
lose a lot. So
Or
it's
like
like,
lie about something. It's just like, that's why that girl who's like, look, I put up a story and I was like, thanks, Print Fresh. And then the next slide, I was like, these are pajamas that are actually worth $98. And here's why. And she's like, no pair of pajamas is worth $98. A bunch of eye roll emojis. And I'm like, just go away. You didn't need to respond to this. I was literally going to be like, you can also just scroll. Like, so block, bye. No room for you here.
it's frustrating also because again, not everything you post is going to be catered especially like to each person in your audience.
Right.
You as a viewer also need to be like aware that like it's okay, like it doesn't make them a bad content creator if this specific piece of content was not made for you, but
Yeah.
it was maybe made for the other thousands of people that they're gonna end up appreciating and liking.
Agreed. And truthfully, I give away so much. Like, if someone responded to that story and was like, oh my God, love these, like, can't afford them right now, I would literally respond and be like, give me your size and your print and I'll send you a pair. I do that all the time where I put up that Bobby Goods coloring book that I offered to you, but you already had it. I put it on my story. I said, first one to respond, I'll send it to you. Within 45 seconds, I had 25 people respond. I sent every single one of them a Bobby Goods coloring book from the website because I felt bad.
Yeah.
And just like, or people who will be like, oh my God, I want this book so bad. Okay, what's your address? I'll send it to you. Like, we try to do what we can to like give back to people who let us live our dream lives in any way that we can. And it just sucks when you see influencers like taking advantage of that trust because there are genuine people out there who like don't think of you as followers and think of you as like friends.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm completely on the same page.
Yeah, we're very similar in that, which is why we are so close and we can chat about anything.
Yeah, I feel like we like really like we just agree on a lot of those things, which again makes us it has not gotten to our head in other ways. Like I see so many influencers or content creators where they lose themselves because of this, like some of the lifestyle things, and I just think us living in Delaware and Idaho keeps us really humble.
No, seriously. Like that's a huge thing. Like we've talked about this before. If we move to New York City, sure, we might get invited to like influence events and do all these things because you can take an Uber or a train ride to get there. Brands ain't flying us out to go to stuff. Like,
no.
When people are like, where's your closest airport? I'm like, Salisbury, Maryland. They're like, what the fuck is that?
No, literally. I've yet to have anyone fly me out anywhere, but you know what? Honestly, we should make a goal next year that maybe next year a brand will be able to go like on a trip together or something.
I would love that. I really would. And I hope like a brand that we love. Like we both use Babe Lash. Like I'm trying like brands that we actually genuinely use and enjoy all the time. You guys, we have been trying to get to go to a Taylor Swift concert.
It's just at this point, it's not happening.
No.
And I could try to budget in a $10,000 trip. I think that would be like so irresponsible about to have a baby. But like, I want to go. I literally can't even listen to like the Tortured Poets Department without crying right now because I'm like, I'll never see it. And just like makes me sad. I know that a lot of us feel this way that we won't be able to see that. And I'm just like, my heart is broken.
It breaks my heart. I don't know. I just feel like she has this is going totally off of it.
We've lost the spot.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like she has some stuff up her sleeve. There has to be an announcement at the last night of Vancouver. There has to be either a new album, Rep TV, debut, something. We have to be getting something. Maybe a documentary during surprise songs. Maybe she'll play the trailer for the documentary. I would also love. I've been manifesting this all tour. The day she announces Rep TV, every outfit will have a black version, a black leather bodysuit, a black 1989 set, a black fearless dress. Like, could you fucking imagine every time she comes out in a new black outfit? I'm getting the chills.
Oh my God, no, I actually think that you wouldn't be able to hear her sing. Like,
No,
I think that the crowd would, like, we would be like
lose it.
EMTs all around. People would be passing out.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
oh, I love being a Swiftie. I love being excited about things like this. It's just
it's
fun.
great. It's a great time.
Yeah, it's girlhood. Okay, where the fuck were we?
Okay, I have a good one here.
Okay.
Going back to what we were talking about, sorry about that random tangent. My decision to follow a book talker can come down entirely to how much they liked The 7 Year Slip, cannot be more than 3 stars, or Malibu Rising, the book with no plot. If they ride hard for either one of those books, it's an eye roll and a pass for me.
Oh, well, I loved Malibu Rising, so I guess you'll have to unfollow me. I don't talk about it ever. You know, that's fair. I feel like, I mean, you have like rock, paper, scissors. Like if you hear someone talk about that in like,
Squirrel.
you're like, I can't.
Mm-mm.
No, I get it. I mean, there's a lot of books that get a lot of acclaim online and they don't maybe need it. Or you
I
don't
feel
agree.
like Malibu Rising was the first ever like book talk book that like I can remember. Like I remember walking into like Barnes and Noble and being like, "Oh, I saw that on TikTok back when
Yeah.
back in like 2022, 2021."
Yeah. Going off of Miss Taylor Jenkins Reid is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is very overrated. And again, I read this book 2021. I don't agree because again, like this is one of my favorite books I read at that time. I have not read it since. So I don't know if I still stand by that, but I loved that book. And it's one of those books that I'm like, if you're trying to get into reading, like I feel like it's a good place to start.
I feel differently. I don't know if it's a good I wouldn't say like it's a good one to start with to like a friend if they're like, "Oh, this is my first time reading since middle school." Maybe
Yeah.
down the line a little bit I would recommend that to them because it's almost like borderline historical fiction kind
Yeah,
of.
I guess I'm meaning more like if like you're starting to read, like you've already read The House Made by Freedom
Yes.
and you've read
Yes.
Verity, like you're trying to like get into books that maybe have like a little bit more storyline. I think
Yes.
it's an easy to digest book versus like a Kristen Hanna. Like people be like,
Yeah.
well, what's your favorite book I'd never read before? And I'm like, I'm not recommending The Great Alone to you.
Great point. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I agree because it is like it's a different format. It's not like smutty romance. It's not like a thriller, but there's like some twists and lots of storyline. And it hits for some people, and other people they're like, "This is a horrible book." I've had many friends that didn't like the book, and I have many friends that loved it.
Yeah. I feel if you are like a beginner reader talking like It Ends With Us, Frida McFadden, and you threw in Seven Husbands, you'd probably be like, no. But if you're in the world of like reading and you're getting more into it and you're trying to diversify your palette, that's a great one to do that.
It's been so long since I read it. I have not read a TJR book in a long time. I think that she's coming out with a new one next year, which I'm excited about.
Oh, I love that. I'm so excited for new releases in 2025. Like,
same. I didn't get through like is enough 2024 new releases. I need to get on that still.
I know, I'm like, all the ones I bought this year are just gonna have to wait because we got more coming out next year.
You're like, don't worry, I will get to you. It just might be a while.
I like this little hot take on fantasy. It says most people who read fantasy actually just want to read romance, but are too scared to admit it. A lot of reviewers will never discuss the world building, the conflict, the battles, etc. of a fantasy book, but they will discuss endlessly how hot the male main character is, the love story, the tropes, etc. Just like read romance, skip all the extra stuff and stop acting superior to the romance genre.
Okay. I kind of like find that interesting. Because yeah, people really do talk about spice when it comes to romance a lot, and then not really about all of the other things that go along with it. I mean, that's what I was looking for. I was like, oh, let's diversify my smut. And there isn't enough for me in fantasy. So I do just read romance.
Cracking up. Let me diversify my smut. Let's start with A Man with Horns.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what A Man with Wings is like.
Yeah.
So okay, this one's I can agree, I can understand this one. Pumpkin Spice Cafe is the worst book talk trend ever.
100%.
I think I gave the book 3 stars. It was exactly what I thought it would be. But again, if you go into that book thinking that like this book is going to change your life, like you are going to be disappointed. You, like Brady has said before, like take the book for what it is. It is a very easygoing, small town, somewhat spicy romance. There's really not like anything revolutionary to it.
this woman, Lori Gilmore, is grasping at the fame she is having right now too. All of like the titles on her books have been changed on like Amazon. So if you're like TikTok recommendations, this book will come up because she changed it to The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. TikTok made me buy it. That's literally the title on Amazon. So like
I've seen people do that.
Yeah, she's rolling in her TikTok fame right now, which she should.
Yeah, I'd do it too.
And that, okay, for example, the fourth book, The Strawberry Patch Pancake House. Pretend I didn't say that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's literally called The Strawberry Patch Pancake House, a brand new small town romance from the author of TikTok phenomenon, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. That is the title of this book on Amazon. Like,
oh my.
Sit down.
Oh my.
We're getting another one
that's
too.
how people, I'm sure she makes so much money because people just type in TikTok books or book talk books and they come up. Dang.
And I also don't love that she's like slowly increasing the price of the books on Kindle. They were like $1.99, $2.99. I went today to look at the Christmas Tree Farm. It's $4.99. And I'm like, these books are Kindle unlimited books. Like, don't make people spend their money just because you're getting greedy. Like, there are enough people buying the physical copies. I don't know. It just,
they're cute. They're cute books.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I feel like this is a shot at me. It's annoying when people make their whole personality hating on Colleen Hoover. Even if she's not your favorite author, it's distasteful to want to put another person down as much as people hate on her. She's also not a good person.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, she's kind of come out, or like it's been pretty obvious that she's not a very good person. So it makes sense when people don't really agree with her or like her. And again, like authors, just as anyone else, are like up to opinions on them, and like people are allowed to not like them, and you're allowed to like also stand on like, I don't want to read her books.
Yeah, people feel the same way about J.K. Rowling.
Yep, I had one about J.K. Rowling in here about actually like if it's someone feeling the opposite way, which I'm like, I don't even want to read it because I'm like, J.K. Rowling is really controversial. The thing on Book Talk is that you get asked all the time, I'm sure, have you read Verity by Colleen Hoover? Have you read It Ends With Us? Like, have you read these books by Colleen Hoover? So you have to continually answer again, no, no, no. So then it makes sense to be like, I don't really like her books. Just letting you guys know, because I'm probably not going to recommend them to you, and I'm probably not going to read them.
Exactly.
Your audience.
Yeah, exactly. And I would never, ever, ever try to like tear people down, but there is a reason. I just don't want to read her books. Like, there are so many books out there that I already want to read. I have an entire collection of books by her that are all signed. When I did that base giveaway, they sent me all of the books that also were given away to my followers, and I have them all. And I want to I'll just do like a giveaway to somebody who wants them because they are all signed and I got them for free. So I would never, ever, ever like put them up for sale on Pango, but I want them to go to somebody who enjoys her books and they're all signed, which is a great and cool thing to have. But every day I go in there to look at what I want to read, I skim over It Ends With Us. It Starts With Us. Like, I skim over them and I'm like, I just don't want to read them.
And that's okay. You're allowed to. That's seriously like, that's the thing about books. Like, you don't have to like the things that everyone else likes. Yeah. And that doesn't make you a bad person. Okay.
I like that singing.
I DNF'd Secret Society of Regular Witches.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of sad for you. I'm passionate about this book. I never give books like this a 5-star, but I did. Yeah. Like, if I looked at the cover, I would be shocked that I gave it a 5-star, but I loved this book. I thought it was actually like very deep and sweet, and all like everything I wanted to feel in a book is like how I felt during this book. So you pick it up again or don't.
Yeah, maybe try it on audio. It was great on audio. The accents are fantastic, and it was just a really, really well done book on audio. So maybe give it a try next year if you need like a witchy kind of. It's not even really witchy, like feel good kind of vibe. I would try it again on audio because it was a really good book. I hate listening to audiobooks. I want to love it, but I just can't concentrate and I end up missing a lot. I agree.
I mean, I understand. Yeah, like there's been times where I have to re-listen to parts of audiobooks, which I find frustrating, especially on Spotify, because I'm like, this is eating my
paying for it.
Yeah, I'm paying for this. I just personally like them because I feel like I can read at all times of the day, which is my preference. Is like I listen to more audiobooks than I do like podcasts.
Yeah, I don't want this to like discourage this person either. Like a lot, like I struggle concentrating on audiobooks all the time. I'm always using the rewind 15-second button, and like I'm like, wait, what like where are we at again? I kind of forget.
Mhm.
So give audiobooks a try again, but don't let that discourage you that you can't concentrate, because we've all been there, and I feel that way multiple times a day when I'm listening to an audiobook. If like, I don't know, like I get a text and I'll answer a text and then I'm like, wait, I just missed the last 15 seconds. I don't know what's happening. So
Yep.
rewind it, re-listen. So
Absolutely.
definitely
That happens
keep
to
giving
me.
them a try.
Yeah. This one says, I will DNF literally anything at any point. I don't care. I'm not wasting my time if I don't like it. And I need to take this energy into account going into this next year, because I have really struggled to DNF a book. Especially because I try to get at least 100 pages into a book before I DNF is kind of like my ballpark
Threshold,
of
yeah.
giving it a good chance. And then I'm like, I've read 100 pages. Like, shouldn't I just finish it out? But yeah.
No, I think that's totally valid. Your time is valuable, and there are so many books out there. Like if you don't vibe with it, it's okay. Like, and then you can just tell people, I DNF'd it after 100 pages, or I DNF'd it after 10, and they're like, yeah, it's not worth it. Then you know. And if they're like,
Yeah.
no, it's the best book ever written, that's still
Okay.
okay. I feel that way about The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I DNF'd it after like 150 pages because I kept trying, and it's just not for me. But I know people would literally like lay down in the road and get run over by a car for that book.
Yep.
And I love that for them, but it's just not for me. Owning multiple special editions of a ton of different books that you aren't a huge fan of is wasteful and overconsumption. I disagree, because they're already made. Like, why not just buy them?
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you don't like the book, then why do you have it on your shelf?
Yeah, that I understand. Like,
Yeah,
I
like,
loved Beach Read, so I have. Wait, did I like Beach Read?
I think you did. I feel like
I
that's like
did
the
like it.
only one that you like were like, I liked that book. Like, you
I
weren't like
just
loved it.
The title just confuses me. It should be called like Lake Lovers, because like it happens at a lake.
No, it's like, yeah, like I think that people, again, like, people are over consumers in this world. So it's like, if you see a special edition, you're like, oh my God, it's pretty. I like it. But like, if you didn't like the book, like, there's really no reason for you to have the book on your shelf. Like, even like you get rid of your books that you don't like after the year is over, because you're like,
Yeah.
it's just taking up room on my shelf. If you like a book though, I understand when people are like, I have every edition of this book because it's like my favorite book ever.
Yeah.
It's just kind
And
of
like,
like for your preferences.
definitely. I was going to read like One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns on my Kindle because they're on Kindle Unlimited, and then buy the books if I liked them. I was at Barnes & Noble, saw the exclusive editions, bought them, and if I didn't like them, I can always get rid of them. I can
Yep.
always sell them. You can always pass them on to somebody else. You can donate them to your local library, to your little library, to your friend. Like, there are endless opportunities. The book is already printed, so like if I liked it and I want to have the book, and you're a collector of books, it's a fun thing to have.
I mean, I have like multiple, I think I have 3 Tortured Poets Department vinyls.
Yeah.
Like, I collect vinyls. So I'm like, it's just like a different version of those things. And yeah, I don't know. I agree, because I think they said of books that you didn't like.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I agree. Like, if you didn't like a book and you just see one at Target that's pretty and it's a special edition, like, save your credit card. Like, you don't need to spend the money. Save your money.
Yeah.
You don't need it. But if you like it, whatever.
Yeah, love it and enjoy it. And if you didn't like it, then you can always rehome it.
Any more? Did we do it?
I think we did it. We did the damn thing.
That was fun.
fun.
I was gonna say that was fun just to like mix it up.
Yeah, I could talk about books all day long. So
yeah,
I love it.
Let us know if you have any other suggestions of either if like we did more submission videos like this, if you have other topics, whether they're book or different. We're happy to kind of like just move and flow with whatever makes sense for these videos. And if in general you just have video ideas of book topics you want us to talk about, or just topics in general, always comment them, because it is really helpful to us and we take it into account. We'll see you next month. I think we're going to do some like holiday themed things next month, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, that'll be a great time. But yeah, let us know any videos you guys want us to see. Obviously, this is our book club, but if you want us to do just like non-book related stuff, let us know. We are open to anything.
Yay. Well, we love you guys, and we will see you guys next time, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Yay. Bye.